All right, gang. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I think we are working. Let me flick over here and just double check. Sometimes you have to love the tech, and sometimes it doesn't do what you want it to do. So let's check this out. Let's see. Yeah, we're working. Good deal. Okay. Go to work and get your treatment. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for saying hello, Aaron. Get yourself to work and check in with this later. Hey, lately we've been doing check-ins with Kevin at 7. And so just to be a support to the community and help everybody's headspace kind of going through this really interesting time. So God bless you and yours. And I look forward to talking with you down the road. And may you heal super quick. Gang, we're going to talk about listening fast. How do you listen fast? How do you listen fast? How does one listen fast? Good morning, Hugo. Good morning, Rebecca. How do you listen fast? There was this chap named Jimmy, and he had a big brother. In fact, no, he had a little brother. And he had a rough time with him. And little brother basically said, listen, I've come to shake things up. I have a little brother, actually, like legit. Although somewhere along the line, he kind of crossed me out. He got taller than me. And Jimmy, though, just had not any time for his little brother until his little brother died and then rose again, because his little brother's name was Jesus. And after he rose again, then James said, okay, now I listen. I think I'll believe. And there were so many good things that Jesus did, and so many amazing things that he did. Well, one of the things that he moved in James to write was to talk about how we communicate with one another, good times and bad times and challenging times. And one of those things was in learning how to commit. In learning how to commit, but also in learning how to communicate, and specifically how to listen. In fact, in James, he talks about, there's one verse I love it. It's James 1:19. He says, "Be quick to listen." Like, hurry up and listen. Like, before you do anything else, listen. Right? Let me ask you a question. I think we talked a little bit about this. In fact, I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but we're coming at this from just a different angle today. Today it's about listening, right? Today it's about about hurrying up just to listen. Yesterday, I wanted you to have a good fight, and I taught you how to have a good fight relationally in the verbal sense. Today, I want to narrow in on quick to listen. Hurry up before you do anything else. And that's what we want other people to do to us, isn't it? So, and here's what I'd love for you to do. As you're listening, I'd love for you to write in a nugget of a takeaway, just one takeaway that good morning, Melissa, that would resonate with you, that would make sense to you. And so the first thought, obviously, is that you listen, right? James says, be quick to listen. And instead, I know this is backwards, forgive me. But and then he says, and be slow. Well, before we even get to slow down, we want other people to listen to us. And they want us to listen to them. So somebody has to be the hero. And let me tell you, we need heroes in our day, right now, in this season, kind of more than any other time. And we don't need like comic heroes. We need everyday heroes. In fact, it's kind of what a hero is, isn't it? An ordinary person who pulls off something extraordinary in an unusual or in a difficult time or season. I get to work with a team. I get to work alongside a team of beautiful people. I call them heroes of hope because that's what they do every day. They help people have hope or get hope back. Good morning, Jacob. Miss you on the court, man. I get to work with heroes of hope every day. Love them. Somebody's got to be the hero. And so James says, you be the hero. You be the hero. And be quick to listen. Like hurry up. And listen. It's the beginning of communicating love, actually. And then he says, and be slow to speak. Slow to speak. Let everybody be quick to listen. Like everybody. Like not just the kids. Hush now and listen to me. Not just the kids. But the adults, but all of us, hurry up and listen. I'll never forget, I went to Venezuela as a younger lad and changed my world, man. Changed my world. My best friend at the time, Darren Murphy, love that dude to this day. We would go everywhere together, and when I came back from Venezuela, we flipped kind of roles. He became the front man, and I was kind of the quieter because I was so impacted by what I saw in Venezuela. Not like trauma, but you know, when you live in the jungle for 6 weeks, it can change it. And now it becomes like it's starting to make sense to some of you. And that's what happened to you, Daly. You ended up in the jungle, you poor rascal. No, it was phenomenal. It was life-changing. It was beautiful. Most of the time, though, we want other people to listen to us. And so James says, hey, whatever you do, will you hurry up and listen? And then he says, and be late, be slow to speak, like be late. And then if you have to say something, no, don't interrupt. And no, don't correct. But be curious. Ask a question. And some of you are thinking, oh, dude, now listen, the people in my life, like if I ask them a question, I'll never shut them up. And here's what's up if you have those type of people or that type of person in your story. Remember, we've been talking lately about belief driving behavior. We may never agree. The idea is we may never agree, but you have to listen to me. I mean, if there's any love or care about the people in your story, in your life, we may never agree. We may never get on the same page about parenting, about schooling, about politics, about faith, about... James says, you want to have a relationship with people and you want those relationships to go good, go well, then hurry up, will you? Listen. And while you're listening, get curious and be late to speak. Be slow to speak. And not because you're dreaming or you're, like some people have said to us over the years, you're not going to say anything. Not those type of, but almost. Because sometimes we're not daydreaming. Sometimes we're not drifting. Sometimes we are fully present, which is one of the greatest gifts you can give anyone right now. I mean, ever. The gift of your presence. Are you not going to say anything? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking about what you're saying, and I'm kind of curious because you don't have to say like you're curious, but I want to get where you are. I want to get to where you are. I'm just struggling with this piece. Can you tell me a bit more about that, or that was a nugget? I mean, when you do speak, let them at least know you're hearing them. Yeah, let them know that you're hearing them. So often, you know, arguments. Obviously, it starts with words, right? Not always, but it starts with words. Oftentimes, one one thought I want to say to you is, and jeepers, I mean, I've worn this out. Is this idea of um, you want to be right. Everybody wants to be right, but in relationship, right right doesn't come before the relationship. I'm not saying be a false peacemaker or be a doormat, or I'm just saying like how high have we kind of elevated rightness in isolation, in quarantine, maybe more specifically in isolation, idols get revealed. Sometimes idols are I have to be right or I have to have the last word. And I just want to encourage you to think about that. And you can be right, and you can be right, and you can write them out the door, or you can write them out of the relationship because you're elevating rightness over the rapport that you're looking, at least that ideally we're looking to get them. Yeah, Karen, we want to be we want to be heard, and yeah, we want to be validated. Huge. Most of us feel invalidated. And some of us then just give it up, stop speaking, or listening to some degree. I want to be understood. I don't want to be lectured. Your kids are in the same boat. Some of us blow up, and others of us bottle up. Neither is good. A different way to say that: some of us are spewers, and some of us are stewers. But the thing is, the longer you listen, the more you learn. And when you adopt a mindset of uh, curiosity, it's interesting what you're able to receive differently. Because you see, if you're waiting for your chance to jump in and cut them off or say your thought or whatever, you're not really fully listening curiously to them. Slow to speak, late, like late, be late to speak. In Ireland, time is like suggestion. It's like the Bahamas. Everything gonna be alright, man. Except the Irish say, to be grand. Just be grand, don't be worrying about it. Generally, of course, not all the time. But what Jimmy says to us is that the longer you listen, the more you learn. And frankly, he says, the less angry you're going to be. Be quick to speak. Be quick to listen. Quick to speak. Be quick to listen. Be slow to speak. Be slow to anger. You will be slower to anger when you are quick to listen and slow to speak. what everybody is thinking, what everybody is speaking makes sense to them. It makes sense to them. And it don't always make sense to you, don't always make sense to me, but it makes sense to them. And that, in that part of our question, it's part of our question, um, part of what's confusing, because in my mind, it's crystal clear. Debbie says to me sometimes, can you just double check that, because that was a little bit like mucky water. And so I just want to encourage us this morning. I am having a tough time seeing. Here's my challenge for you. I just want you to write down something that is a nugget for you, something that's landing on your runway, something that's a takeaway that you can complete. That's my ask of you this morning, if you'd be so kind. And I want to just double check that I am sure enough. I think we're getting there. So here we go. This is where I need to be. Okay. So what else? Well, everything might make sense to them, and so one way to get help is to say, "Can I tell you what I'm hearing you say?" Or you can ask them, will you tell me what you're hearing me say? It's huge, because a lot of times we just make assumptions on it, and it's actually it's ineffective, and sometimes we're wrong. So ask questions. Stay curious. Ask questions. There's your challenge for your day. Just ask more questions today. A great answer has never been heard for the want of a good question. Not declarations, not proclamations, not mini sermons, or pontifications. We've been called to love one another. It begins with listening fast. Okay? It begins with listening fast. So, let me just see if I can. Sound is off. Okay, I think I'm good. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Rebecca. I think I got everybody. Okay. So, other thing I want to ask, or I want to just throw out to you and give you another couple of nuggets, is the fellow that wrote the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. He said this. He said, seek first to understand and then to be understood. Now, Steve, how about you reverse that? No, seek first to be to be understood. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. It's it's not just if you're calmer, you'll be more convincing. What did he just say? He said, it's not just if you're calmer, you'll be more convincing, or calmer. That's how you say it here, maybe. Calmer. You see, you have what you want to say, they have what they want to say, and ultimately God's in the mix. God's in the mix. Both of us want to be right, think we are right. But Jimmy says, you know, that your anger, your frustration doesn't help you experience God's righteousness, God's rightness. You and I sometimes get so fixated on being right in the conversation, in the conflict, that that we stop trying to make us right, and we just fight for our rights or being right. And you can be right but lose the relationship. That's not what that's and sometimes we say, well, that's just how it is. I'm right, they're wrong, and that's their problem. Well, even when you win an argument, sometimes you lose the relationship. Because in the concept of team, you're shooting for two wins, right? You're shooting for a win-win, not just a win, whatever. Win, lose. At least somebody won, and I'm okay, it's me. You're shooting for a win-win. Because if you feel like you win and they feel like they've lost, you've lost. Jesus didn't come to be right. He didn't. He was right, but he didn't come to be right. He came to reconcile us to his Father, to our Father. And he came to make us ministers of reconciliation. Ah, Kev, look, well, that's easy. You're a minister. We're all ministers. We're all ministers. And God has called you and me to be a minister of reconciliation. Figure out how to be right with the other, not just fighting to be right to them. Because ultimately there's no winner if things are right with them. And how you pull that off, he says it in verse 21, he says, put aside all foolishness and malice. Get rid of it. Stop being so focused about convincing or convicting or controlling or correcting. Sometimes I fall into little pockets, where I'm correcting everybody. Like you'd think it was a firstborn or something. And sometimes somebody's got to say something to me. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Greg. Miss you, man. And you, Barbara. Sometimes I kind of need smelling salts. Now, not literally, but sometimes I need a bit of help. Sometimes I need somebody to say, hey, you've kind of been correcting me. Like everything I say, you're correcting. What's up with that? And I'm like, oh, really? Thank you for that. But let me pay attention to that. I'm sorry. Let me back off. So my ask of you is that you write down a nugget, a takeaway for a few minutes, our check-in with your Irish brother Kev in at 7 this morning. Take that mindset off, because it never wins. Even if you win, you lose. And how we pull it off in verse 20 is with humility. With humility, accept the word that was planted in you. And humility says that you're more important than me. And that we are more important than I. See, what we resist persists, continues, right? But what we embrace gets erased, or what we receive gets erased. What you resist persists, but what you receive, what you embrace, gets erased. Receive with humility. Kev, do you know how hard it is for me to be humble? Yeah, sometimes I do, because I have the same battle sometimes. And that's where it all comes back to who are you going to depend on to make all this work? Who are you going to depend on to get through? He wants you better on the other side of this season. Not bedraggled, beaten up, and battered. He wants you better. And you have a say in that, because he tells us, hey, consider it all joy when you encounter challenges and troubles and temptations. I mean, there's an option as to what filter we use, gang, right? And he says at the end, because it has the power. When you do this, it's the power to save you. And he's not talking about like eternity, because that's a once and done deal, right? When you enter into relationship with Jesus. But he says it's able to save your soul. Your in your soul is your emotions, your will, your thinking. When you put on the humility filter, it can save relationships, man. Save lives. So don't just settle for being right. Yeah, Rebecca, it's about restoration. All of it. Us to God and us to each other. Make things right. Don't settle for just being right. And you know, I'm going to wrap up here, but that's what God did for us. That's exactly what God did for us when he sent Jesus into the world. He sent him as one who could not speak. It's just weird. I mean, you don't begin a story of a rescue mission sending somebody who's speechless. But God did. As a humble, vulnerable baby. He didn't send him in as a teacher or a preacher or a prophet or an author or a wordsmith, but as a baby who was speechless. And for 30 years, he experienced, the scriptures tell us, everything that we've experienced. Sorrow and disappointment, persecution, loss. 30 years he listened. And then he began to speak. And when he spoke, again, people flocked to him. Because they felt like he understood them. And it says that people were amazed at the words that he spoke because they were full of grace and truth. And people who were nothing like him liked him because they could sense that he liked them. Actually, that he loved them. And he invited all of them to follow him. And his older brother, James, who didn't have a whole lot of time for a long time, ended up being killed for him, for believing him, because the community at the time felt like he was such a threat. But James was so confident that when he would open his eyes, on the other side, that he'd see his little brother Jesus. When you hurry up and listen fast, God gets given the chance to open our eyes to help us see what we need to see, hear what we need to hear. So can I encourage you, just jot down what resonated with you from this morning's check-in. What's a takeaway for you from some of the thoughts that we've kicked around with Jimmy? And may you have eyes to see what he would have you to see this day. And may he grant you ears to hear what we desperately need to hear. And may you feel his favor and you know his peace. And if there's anything that myself or my team can do to be of more support to you or yours, give us a call. Give us a call at, I'm going to pop the number up on the screen in Facebook. Give us a call at 800-910-5060 or send us an email at info@brokenchainsintl.com, where we help people live free and love well. Or send us a text to 678-608-2111. Or message me on Insta or Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. Or, hey, you know what? Give us a call. 800-910-5060. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. We'll be doing these morning check-ins for a little bit longer, just to be of support and help to our community to come through this better, not battered and bedraggled. And if what we've kicked around today has surfaced questions, then please ask them. Ask them of me, ask them of somebody. St. Pete, you're jumping on at the wrap-up time. You are so welcome. For your thank you, Balanced Scales. I gotta find out your first name. But I'm grateful for your company. I'm honored to be able to have the privilege to jump into the trenches with you all. Yeah, grand, Pete. You're not late, bro. You're never late. But just do me a favor and maybe I don't know if you can do rewind on Insta. I'm sure you can. I guess you can. Mona from New Jersey. Yeah. Thank you, Mona. Hey, so I have, it's early. Still 7:39. Any thoughts? Any questions? From Hurry Up and Listen? Only if I save it, Pete. Okay. Well, when I send it to my story, I think it gets saved, I guess, for 24 hours. So yeah, I'll do that straight away, and then you can jump on there and get a couple of nuggets. And let me know what resonated with you. So I'm going to bow out then. If yeah, man. You got it. And I will let you go. Have a fabulous weekend. How much longer do you plan to do the check-ins? Mona, so we have an academy called the Live, Love, Lead Academy, which in that we help people live fully, love deeply, and lead authentically. And in there we have weekly check-ins, if you like, but it's weekly coaching sessions where you jump on with a group of others and you get to ask whatever question you have in helping you live in the fullness that Jesus came to give to us, right? But a fuller life, a deeper love life, and a more authentic leadership experience to the people that you lead personally or professionally. And so for the first 3 Wednesdays of the month, we talk. First Wednesday is a coach around living fully. Second, loving deeply, and third, leading authentically. But anywhere through the month, you get to ask any question you want to help you get further faster. And so I become your coach, basically. So we already have that in place, but just right now in this climate with everything that's going on, we just wanted to be a support, to show up, and help people's mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, relational health, right? Debbie takes care of their physical health in the hospital, and so and she's doing a phenomenal job. If you don't know it, like I don't think it's just America, but it's Nurses Week, and so can I just encourage you to just send some love to nurses in your world, because man, they do just a fabulous job. So that would be my encouragement. So Mona, I think the answer to your question is I'm not sure how much longer we're going to do them for. But inside the academy, in fact, inside the academy, there is a log of coaching sessions that you can search, for whatever topic you have, and you can get answers. And then we're building an on-demand library where there's much shorter sessions that you can search again for questions. You can ask me any question, and those questions get answered throughout the week, not just in that one time a week, right? So there's a lot more access inside of there. So thank you for the appreciations and the loves. Man, they look great to see. They look great to see. Yeah, win-win for the relationship, Sarah. That's right. We're shooting for win-wins in conflict resolution. So Mona, a little bit longer, sister, a little bit longer, and I'll when we get closer to the time, I'll let you know how you can get into to the academy if you want to do that. Right, it's a paid membership. There's 3 different levels, but it is a whole lot cheaper than counseling, uh, and so that's the beauty about just having, we all jump in together, uh, and it's more affordable, right? And so we'll definitely get that information to you pretty soon. Thanks, Pete, for the encouragement. Bless you all. If Sandy, lovely to see you. Brian, good morning. Dara, good morning. We've just been talking about hurry up and listen, and how do you do that? And so this will be posted on Facebook. You can go back on YouTube and LinkedIn and Insta, and you can press rewind and get you some nuggets for your day, right? And just let me know what resonated with you, okay? So, and if you've got any other questions, send them to me on Messenger, or give us a call again, 800-910-5060, info, email at brokenchainsintl.com, or send us a text at 678-608-2111, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right? God bless you. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.